Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the N.W.A. Nerds with Attitude. I'm sure you know my voice by now. I am Isaac, OldHunterRage or Artist Supreme. I bring you a wonderful show today. Uh, by now, hopefully you know what we do. We have nerdy discussions, debates, we review what we just watched or things that we've watched in the past, and sometimes we just kind of chat and have a good, discussion about whatever we're watching at the moment, what we're playing, all that kind of stuff. It could be popular, underrated, niche, old, everything. We're gonna put our 2 cents in on whatever it is. Warning: there is harsh language at some point, and if you're under 16 maybe or so, be careful. Don't watch this with your and also warning, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen what we're talking about, run, watch it, and then come back and see it. So enjoy the show.
Right. All right. Last of Us Part 2. We are finally getting into that. We did review Last of Us Part 1, and that was the first time I actually went in blind. That was the first time I actually played that game, and I went in blind on that one. And if you want to know my thoughts, I'm not going to elaborate here, but if you want to know my thoughts in our little talk, there's probably a link somewhere in this video for the first Last of Us part. Anyway, we're doing Last of Us Part 2. Before we get into all that, I have Supreme Artist. OldHunterRage. I totally forgot what. We got Isaac. I'm just not.
Hi.
We got JR.
Hello.
And Noah.
Hello.
And it is I, Walt, one of your humble hosts of the N.W.A. So, Last of Us, Part 2. It is a 2020 action-adventure game developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Entertainment. It was an exclusive for PlayStation 4. It is set 5 years after Last of Us Part 1, which came out in 2013. So it was like 7 years. The player controls two characters in the post-apocalyptic United States. Ellie, who is set out for revenge after suffering a great tragedy, and Abby Anderson, who is a soldier who becomes involved with the conflict between her militia and a cult. The game is played in a third-person perspective, and you can use firearms and all that junk. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there was a lot about this game, too. It got delayed quite a bit, but right now, though, before we get into it, what are the scores on this game? Like Metacritic itself, it's sitting right now at the time of recording this video. It is sitting at a 94 on Metacritic. Everybody else, like Game Informer, gives it a 10 out of 10. GameSpot gave it an 8 out of 10. IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. Push Square gave it a 10 out of 10. Game Revolution gave it like a 4.5 stars. So it's been praised for a lot. It also has been criticized for a lot too. Before we end, did you guys agree with that scoring right there? Like Metacritic anyway? I know they're the biggest one. A 94, you think this game is a 94? Or you think it's a 10 out of 10?
I think a 94 is good.
Yeah.
No.
I don't.
You don't agree?
What, like it's one of the greatest games of all time? Or?
That's not what I said. I was
Okay,
just
my
talking
bad.
about the. I'm talking about the score.
The
The
scores, the
score.
teams? No, absolutely.
So you don't agree with Metacritic's 94 rating? I know the public, the player rating is a little bit different because I know there was a lot of review bombs and everything, but I didn't really pull that up or anything like that. But what score would you give it?
Out of like we using 100 score now, or just
Just out of like a 10 out of 10, whatever, out of 10.
out of 10? 7.5.
7.5. Isaac, what would you rate the game?
I give it like I guess an 8.5, maybe not.
Maybe not. JR?
Yeah.
8.5.
8.5. Alright.
Yeah.
Those are decent enough scores and all that junk. Me myself, I don't. I, 'cause honestly, I be straight up with you, you beautiful listener that's listening right now. Be straight up with you. I didn't personally play the game. I did go down that journey with the Noah and watch them play. Uh, if you want to ask me about story, which is the game besides gameplay itself, which we will get into in a minute. Story wise, probably I'd probably give it a high 7, low 8 in that range, somewhere around there. Story wise, because it did
7.5.
it did give me. I don't do decimals. I'm not a barbarian like y'all. But but we will go ahead and move into the gameplay aspect before we jump into the story. And this is even though we're late to the party, this is going to be a spoiler. We already say that in the opening of these videos, and we already spoil things as is, but we just want to give you a warning, just in case you're that one person living under a rock and you're listening to this. We spoil something. You're like, oh, I lived under a rock. How dare you do that? I don't have time. I don't have time for you. Anyway, gameplay. So gameplay. Did y'all like how the gameplay was improved from the first game to the second game, or does it just feel like the same game basically
It feels
to
like
you?
the same game. 100. It was the same game. I didn't have to learn no new controls. It was.
The other guys, I mean, you don't just. Do y'all
I,
agree with Noah? Disagree?
I felt it was. I mean, it's mostly the same, but like with the addition of the dodge button,
Oh
they
yeah,
added in a jump.
and the combat.
Yeah.
Like there's more combat in this game than there was in the other one. Because mostly when you're in combat, you have like a melee weapon or something. But in here, you can be in combat with anybody. Even a clicker, you have like the right tools. Like they don't automatically just kill you. You have more of a fighting chance against them. And one mechanic that I actually appreciate in this one was when they're doing like the stealth missions, or not stealth, the stealth segments, and you have the ability to go prone, like you're all the way down to the ground. Like to me, that was like, oh my god, that's a little detail that I actually like. You could be like extra stuff.
Like when you could like crawl under things like cars and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can go under stuff or be on like very low grass, and they would still, for some reason, not be able to see you.
Oh, they saw Noah. They saw Noah. Did y'all run into any glitches in this when y'all played?
I don't remember any glitches
So-
that stood out.
Oh man, no.
Why? What did you? What
Yeah,
did you?
me and
Yeah,
Noah
what did you run
into
into?
a big glitch. So there's a part, I don't know if y'all remember. There's a part towards the end when Ellie falls into the Vipers or the Rattlers trap, and she's hanging upside down. So when we get the cutscene in that, for some reason, like Ellie is upside down, but when it goes out of the cutscene into the, I guess, gameplay element, somehow Ellie is like standing parallel instead of she's standing parallel. She's still in the trap, but she's parallel. It's almost like she's floating in the air. She's not upside down or anything like that, but she's floating in the air. And then when the guy cuts her down, when she gets cuts down and fall, she was still off model. So when she pulls out the gun, she had the gun in the cutscene, and she had a shotgun in her hand. Like the shotgun was inside her body, and it and it almost looked like she had like her whole right side was just paralyzed, like she had a stroke or something. So the gun's in her body. And I wish we recorded this. Man, I wish we had recorded this. But it was funny. And then like part of her neck was gone, so her head shrunk down into her shoulders. It was weird. I was like, what is on here?
Oh my god.
It was crazy. That one was right there. That was the only like real glitch we ran across. But like the stealth missions, some of the stealth missions and all, even some. Let's go on down to like some of the new enemies. Did you like the new enemies that got put in?
I fucking hate the stalkers.
Oh yeah, those freaking ninjas. Oh
Yes,
those are ninjas.
those things
ninjas.
were crazy.
They weren't zombies. They didn't act like zombies. They were fucking ninjas.
I told Noah, I was like, so you gotta fight zombie ninjas now? Oh my. When we got to that point, when the first time they get introduced, when you're in the like the office building, and they scatter, and they just sneak up on you and stuff like that. Man, that was a rough time right there. That was a rough time. Like Noah got through the first time we got there. Noah got jumped. He did get jumped. They came straight out of Compton. Like they straight up ninja'd him. When they restarted him back at the door, he was like, "I'm just running. But you see that? I'm bolting to the window." And he bolted. He just ran. Didn't fight any of them. Ran straight out of the building where you're on the fire escape. And then the cutscene cuts off where Ellie was like, "Yo, I gotta go back into the building." And that man Noah cussed up a storm because he had to go and fight these things. Because the game right there forced you to fight these stalkers. What about the Shambler? Did y'all like those Shambler things?
The one that explodes every now and then?
Yeah.
I thought they were interesting. Yeah, they were pretty good. They were a challenge somewhat, even though sometimes they're actually relatively easy to kill.
Yeah.
Like a couple of shotgun and they're down. All you need to do is just get away from them, like when they die.
Curious, what difficulty did y'all play on?
Yeah, we played on light mode just to get
Yeah,
through
we
it.
did. Okay, the reason why we wanted to get through it as quickly as possible, so we needed to, and we barely was able to do that in the 3 days that Isaac and I played this. So we
And
had
even on light mode, we
difficulty.
died a few times.
Yeah, it was still pretty challenging, somewhat. But even though I'm pretty sure, like in stealth, it takes them like a good while for them to actually see you. And there are times where I'm like, right around the corner, and they come up over the corner, and they can see me, but they could still like, what is that? And it gives me just enough time to grab them, and then shh, you're on light. Shut up. Shh.
You're on light mode. It's okay.
What about anything you want to add on these the new enemies that got introduced? We'll get it to the boss when you fight with when you play with Abby. That mishmash thing.
That
The Rat
amalgam.
King.
Yeah, that abomination looking thing.
The Stalkers was.
What was
cool.
it called
I did-
again?
The Rat King.
That it was not called the Rat King.
No, that's
I'm
actually what it's
very
called.
Oh, it
I did
is
not-
called the Rat King.
Yeah.
Why?
I looked through the model viewer in the game. Yeah, it's called the Rat King.
Why? Is there like a description of why it's called that?
No, it just says Rat King and then it shows his ugly butt.
Noah,
Understand.
what were you saying before we cut you off?
I liked the Stalkers. There's only like 2 new enemies, right? The Stalkers and the other one.
The Shambler.
Yeah, the Shambler was a letdown for me. Because they was hyping him up.
Yeah.
And I was like, he looks like a bloater, but whatever. He was a letdown.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's a little more easy to kill than a bloater.
And he was a letdown for me. I was like, oh, okay.
Did you
Stalkers
think
was great.
the Stalkers were great?
Yeah, I did enjoy them because they were niggas. I mean ninjas.
That was a good slip.
Oh man. Did any of y'all like scared jump? Did y'all jump when those stalkers sometimes came out the wall when they blended in and everything?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I fucking hate those things. I hate when they actually hide from you and you're like, where the fuck are they? I'm like, I really don't like that they play hide and seek with you. That's very unsettling to me. And they make no noise whatsoever. That's my fear. That's
Oh yeah, so you can't see them in listen mode and everything. Yeah.
like you only see them when they're about to move closer and closer to you, and I'm like, no.
What about the what do you guys think about the introduction, excuse me, of the guard dogs, the dogs that got put in?
Man,
They were interesting. They were an interesting touch. It really adds to the tension when you're in stealth. But all you had to do is kill the dog first. Bow and arrow to the neck bone. That's it.
it made me feel bad because I have a dog and it just killing
I have
a
a dog, too.
and then he
He's an
yelps.
asshole.
It's horrible.
No, how do you feel about the dogs?
The dogs were cool. Even though I murdered every single last one of them, they were good. They were cool. They were great. I enjoyed those dogs.
Were y'all feeling any type of way when like you killed the dog and
Not
either
really.
the
I
wolf,
was like,
it
well,
was
it's
a
to my
wolf.
survival. Just
The wolf had been like, "No, Jesse," or something like that when it would drop names and everything.
I had a
It's
not
sadistic
really when they
pleasure
said
doing
something.
that.
Everybody had a name.
Yeah, they did.
I actually had like a sadistic pleasure when that happens. I'm like,
Yeah, Jay,
he's someone close to you.
he's
How does
a
that
little twisted.
feel, fucker? I'm a little fucked up.
Yeah, he's probably going to there.
Just a bit. What about the weapons and stuff? The
Bows and
like the
arrows.
the
Oh, the
bows and
trip
arrows.
mine. I like
Yeah,
the
the
trip
trip.
mine.
Yeah, the trip mine was cool.
Oh, let me tell you about the story. Well, Nor, you want to tell this? Be quiet.
I accidentally killed myself with a trip mine.
Yep. Oh man,
Hey.
Noah did this. Like when the trip mine mechanic get introduced, when you walk past that and you get to where you're almost there to I think it's the TV station and all those cars and stuff is around. So Noah climbed the car. He climbed the truck and he was running across trucks and he gets to a jump where he can jump on another truck. And I'm like, I don't think you can make this jump. And Noah said, only gods can make this jump. And he jumped. And it looked like he was finna make it. And for some reason, he hit a hard left straight into a trip mine and died. I was like, what the hell? Why'd you do that? He was like, I put it on everything. I was finna make the jump. I was pressing forward on the stick. She went left. I don't know why. It was so funny. We were laughing. We were dying laughing about like 10-15 minutes. Because he said only gods can make this jump.
God had a different plan for you.
And he did not make the jump. It was, man, it kicks me because I wish we recorded our playthrough. I wish we had recorded it. Oh man, it was so funny. What?
Holy God.
What about the upgrading weapons and stuff? That wasn't in the first one, was it? I don't remember upgrading weapons and stuff. Was it?
It was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Was the makeshift silencers also in the first one?
No, that was new.
Makeshifts. What?
The silencers.
Oh no, that's new, and I thank God that it was there.
Oh yeah,
because it really adds to the stealth mechanics, especially when the silencer has like a limited usage. Like, you only have like a few shots to use it, and then it just pops off. I was like, ooh, you only have very few shots to actually use this.
Though
Make them count.
I will give Noah props on this, where he was like a god with this bow and arrow. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes he was godlike, because there was one, even though it kind of blew up in his face after he got past that part, but there was a part where where those houses are. You're playing with Ellie, and you're with all these houses and everything, and there's a lot of tall grass, and I can't remember where in the game where that was, but there was dogs, and one of the non-playable characters, one of the enemy characters, they was walking the dog, and they was looking for Ellie and all that junk, and he was laying down in the grass with his back on the grass, and he had the bow and arrow out, and he was like, judging by the angle how this guy is walking the dog, the dog should be right here because you couldn't see the dog. I want to preface this and put this statement: you could not see the dog throughout with this tall grass. You couldn't see. It's like, judging by that, he's right there. He shot the air, killed the dog. I was like, dog! He killed it without seeing it. And then when the end, he killed them so smooth, the enemy didn't realize it until it was too late. And then he put an arrow in his head. I was like, yo! And then he went into the house. He went into the house part where they kind of ambush you, and then he just died. he got into that point where you got to jump in the house and then come out the house. It's like right before you run into Jesse, the first time, right before you run into Jesse, and he was going up the stairs, and this person came out of nowhere with his machete, just chopped him. It was some good moments in there. It was some pretty bad moments in this game too. Ellie, we'll go before we get into the stories. Ellie and Abby, because you switch back and forth between them. Which one did you like playing with the most, or which one did you like playing with the least? Because they both felt differently.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed playing as Abby more than Ellie, which Ellie was fun, especially like in the stealth, because Ellie always has a knife, whereas Abby has to create, shivs and such. Abby was straight up choking the infected to kill them. Like, Abby's cool, bro.
She really is. I enjoy playing as Abby.
That muscle-bound girl, she was a beast.
She
had hands.
Legit beast. She threw hands with infected. Oh my god!
Look, the moment I knew Abby was different was like, the first mission where you play as her in the snow, and that one infected came up, and I started to fight him, like fist fight him, and she threw a kick. I was like, all right, I know Abby's different now. She threw like a kick straight into the thing's knee, and it buckled. I was like, wow. Abby's really trying to kill these guys. Great. No. Shout out to Abby.
No.
Everybody's gonna enjoy that sentiment.
Yep.
I like Ellie.
You like Ellie better than Abby?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Even though I did better with Abby for some odd reason.
Yeah, you did a lot. Anytime you play with Abby, he did a lot better with Abby. Ellie, he was dying a lot with Ellie. Because I know they both had different types of weapons. They used different type of weapons.
She had a crossbow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I love how she got the crossbow too. Like she goes to this ship and turns out like there was this dude who killed everybody on this ship. Like that crossbow had history.
Oh yeah.
Alright. Is there anything else we can get into besides
the Rat King?
The Rat King. Why is it called that? He doesn't even look like a rat.
There's a meaning behind Rat King that doesn't have to do with rats. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, I guess probably look it up and pop it on the screen right now to tell you the meaning of the Rat King or something like that. That boss. How many times y'all died when y'all fought that boss?
Quite a few.
Yeah, a few times.
And we had to switch. Like
we switched a couple times.
We switched a couple of times, like, and I think I had better luck with it.
You did.
Yeah, I had better luck with it than Isaac did.
I was scared out of
like
my
Isaac.
mind.
Yeah, Isaac. Like he fought with it first, and then he died a couple of times because all of the bullshit, like him spawning stalkers. Of all of the things to spawn, it spawns stalker, and that's annoying. And at one point he's like, okay, you know what? Fuck this. you get out there. I'm like, okay, I'll try my hand on this. And I actually did pretty well on it. I think I died. Did I die once?
Yeah, you died to the because after you kill the big mass of it, that's the bloater half of it they call, and then the stalker
Yeah.
half is like the second phase of the boss fight. Yeah, you died to
It's
that one.
still running around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Noah, I know you got some word for this boss fight.
Actually, I don't.
Oh,
That part
okay.
pissed me off. That shit was like, I was like, this is ridiculous. Why can't I just shoot him in the head? He's dead.
Nope. He has multiple heads.
So what? He gotta have one main head. It was like, wow. Just thinking of why is there only one? Why shouldn't it be like a lot more of them?
Because I think they said in that hospital was ground zero for that city's infection.
Yeah.
So I guess there must be one at each ground zero.
Each ground.
I assume.
Yeah, they were saying that was the first. That was the spot where the first infected had showed up. Like the whole time though, when you went to the hospital, I'm thinking you was going to, when you went downstairs and all that, I'm thinking you were going to fight that infected, the very first, whoever was infected the first. He was going to be this uber infected or something like that, not this body mass monster thing.
Actually, I like that, the whole body mass thing.
Well, that is, he was like, that's a collection of the first infected. Because they had been sitting there for, how much did it say? 2.5 decades, sitting close to each other, and they just kind of grew into one single mass. That's how mushrooms work, I guess. Look, as scared as I was during that boss fight, that's one of my favorite boss fights now. Just for the sheer, like, horror aspect and the way it looks. I'm terrified of that kind of stuff, but at the same time, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was actually pretty creative. Like, it's a very creative boss fight.
Alright, let's get into characters. We can get into characters. So we'll go ahead and get into this debate. Ellie versus Abby.
Or just other characters.
Before we get into that, what do you guys 2 cents on the characters like Dina and Jesse, or even Abby, some of Abby's crew?
Okay. Full disclosure, I hate everybody in Abby's crew.
You do?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. They're all complete idiots.
Who
lets a pregnant woman to go on a scavenger hunt filled with infected and scars? Are they that
them letting
stupid?
Mel go out on that mission was dumb. Absolutely.
And Mel too. She's the dumbest of them all. Wanting to go out there with a fucking living being inside their belly.
Plus, the way she was like climbing over stuff.
How?
As a pregnant lady, it's just weird.
She should be in labor at that point. All that extraneous dress? That's just unrealistic and stupid. I didn't enjoy that part at all. And it just soured my mood. And I'm like, okay, everybody in that group, everybody in the Wolves group is dumbasses.
What about Yar and Lev?
Which one? Which one were they?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the two kids.
Yeah, they were the Seraphite.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, I
or
like
the
them.
scars,
They
quote
were-
unquote.
Yeah, the runaway scars. Yeah, I like their stories.
Lev was great. Yara was great
Lev,
too, but
Lev was
Lev
really
is
great.
great people.
I liked him. Yeah.
Noah, any characters that aside before we get into the Abby Ellie break, besides them, are there any other characters that you enjoyed or you didn't like or hated, like Ellie, not Ellie, but Abby's squad, or
No, they was all the same. I didn't have no.
How are they all the same?
They were all basic. I didn't really think nothing. They was just people.
You are very picky.
It was just. No, I didn't hate none of them. I didn't like none of them either. I'm all neutral towards both their squad.
really just you don't got no other input or anything like that. Like you don't think any character in particular was like written good, like Yar and Lev, like Isaac and Jr. had or what about Jesse? I like Jesse.
I like Jesse. He was done dirty. He was done in pretty dirty. I wish I got to know him better. Like, I wish he was around more because, like, I felt like I was missing like a lot of Jesse stuff. Because it's obvious that like he's a big part of Adina and Ellie's life, and yeah, I just wish they could have showed him more. Like, could have done more with him. But instead, he was just kind of there and helped out a bit, but he didn't do anything like significant. That's my take on Jesse. Dina, there are times where she gets on my nerves. I don't know. I would also have to bring up the point, like knowing that she was pregnant and then just coming on this revenge quest, because she's very liable to either get really messed up or just.
Did they ever say in the game like how long Dina was? Because she wasn't showing like
a couple weeks.
Yeah, she wasn't showing like
she was late.
Okay.
Shut up.
Like
I knew the second that she threw up. Like it's been my experience that whenever it might sound bad, but whenever a woman from anywhere throws up unexpectedly, it's usually them being pregnant. And I was like, oh shit, she's pregnant. She probably should not be here.
I'm probably gonna harken back to the gameplay aspect, but like, did you guys like how they transitioned between Ellie and Abby? Did you like how you had to play 3 days into Seattle, because that's what the game primarily did? Did you like 3 days with Seattle with Ellie, and then Ellie, and then 3 after you played Ellie's part, you played Abby's part, and you played 3 days for her too? Or do you think they should have they should have transitioned that better.
They should have transitioned that better. Because when it came to Abby part, I hated her at first. Absolutely dread playing her.
I think that was the point, though. I think that was the point, though.
That could have. I don't think that was the point. Because nobody liked Abby in the beginning. Like, forced to play with her for 3 days straight. Nah, that was a bad choice. Because everybody hated her. That could have turned some people off towards the game. I almost stopped playing. Listen, if it wasn't because of Walt, I would have never even finished it.
I would have still kept playing anyway, because I kind of figured I kind of got spoiled a little bit, but not to the extent to know exactly what was going on. I knew what happened with Joel. I knew like why she would do that. And it kind of makes sense to me, because in this world, like, it's in Joel's world, it's kill or be killed. At that point, he was killing for like selfish reasons, but you kind of sympathize with it. And now you're looking at it through Abby's point of view, that Joel was being selfish, and then Abby just wanted something back.
We'll get into that in a second. I was just asking if you felt like they could have, if you liked how you played basically 10, 13 hours with not Abby, but Ellie, and then you played another 10, 13 hours with Ellie. Because I feel like they could have transitioned into like that with, instead of you playing so many hours with Ellie. Oh, I feel there was times where when they did a cutscene, like if they like Abby was about to get caught or Abby was about to die or something, they could have changed it to, I wonder what Abby is doing, because the game is heavily it's a lot heavily on flashbacks. It's a lot of flashbacks things.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they could have. I feel it was poorly did, because you start the game off with Abby. You start the game off playing with her, and then you transition into Ellie.
At first, it was Joel a little bit.
Well, yeah, a little bit with Joel, and then
it was Abby, and then you played Ellie.
Well, if y'all don't have anything else for character wise, we will go and get into this Abby. Is Abby right or is Ellie right? Thing, or Team Abby, Team Ellie. Before we get anything, whose side were you on, Isaac?
Oh, don't do sides.
Whose side were you on?
Oof.
What? All right. You know what? I welcome the comment. By the end of it, I think I was with Abby.
Okay. Before you tell me why, I will move on to JR.
It's all a matter of perspective, to be honest. Like, they're both horrible people, but Abby was in like a very, very dark place at that point. And then later on, you see her getting more and more, getting better, like, character-wise. Because she has like something to fight for now. Whereas Ellie, she kind of lost that. But then she I would have to say, okay, in short, I would also have to say Abby, because Ellie, she could have walked away. She could have let it go. She was in a really great place, but after everything, she just couldn't. She really couldn't. And it's very sad to see, but in the end, it kind of destroys her and her relationships with everybody. So I have to be with Abby because I would like to see like how her story goes on.
Noah?
I'm on Team Joel. Rest in peace.
That wasn't one of the options.
Okay. Honestly, I was on Team Ellie's side. My boy Joel had to die. But in the end, I'm on nobody's side. I think they were all wrong in the situation.
We can move into that. Why do you think? What do you mean all wrong in this situation?
It was all wrong. Honest, Joel was wrong. Ellie was wrong. Abby was wrong. It was just all wrong, man. When Joel did in the first game, when he went in and just murdered everybody in the hospital, it was wrong for It was wrong for Abby to come back and kill Joel. It was wrong for Ellie to go and kill everybody like she did. It was just wrong.
So you don't agree with how Joel went in, how you went in as Joel and killed the doctor. So you don't agree with that. You don't agree with his motives and all that.
I don't think he could have to kill the doctor. I think he could have just saved Ellie and did, because I hate Joel did not tell her the truth right in the beginning. I didn't see why he did not tell her the truth right there in the beginning. I was like, listen, they was gonna kill you. You didn't know that. Now you know. We can still, if you still want to do it, that's fine. I guess I'm just gonna have to let you go. But now that you know, you can choose. Because they didn't tell them in the beginning that Ellie had to die for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
like I said before. Sorry.
I was good. He should have just been straight up with her. He should have been straight up with Ellie. They should have been straight up with them. And then when Joel found out, he could have took Ellie and talked to her instead of just killing everybody.
But it was like I said before, it's all a matter of perspective. Not everybody is right. Not everybody is right. Joel's not right. Ellie's not right. Abby wasn't right. And it's all about, like, this whole story, it's basically about revenge. And, like, the tragedies that comes with it.
Well, I guess you could say that. What was I gonna say? So we can harken back to the Joel thing, because the actions of Joel basically creates the second game. I do agree. Joel should have just told her straight up and told her the reasoning behind why he killed all those guys. Because, like, I know when you play with Abby the second time and she's with her dad and all that junk, it made it seem like her dad was this noble guy because he's trying to find a cure for the disease that's going around. But at the same time, he even said in the even in the recording, there was no guarantee that this was actually going to work. This was actually going to be able to find a cure.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that, like, rubs me the wrong way. Like, I see why I can understand why Ellie was mad, because at that point they make it seem like Ellie wanted to die. She knew she was gonna die. That's why they made it seem like at that point when you go to that flashback, when you find out that Ellie found out and she went back and didn't take Joel's word or anything like that, and went back and found that tape and everything. They made it seem like Ellie already knew she was going to die. They implied it anyway, like she was going to die and she was ready. But at the same time, there was, I think because she has the recording and she just didn't listen to it. I don't my thing is, I don't understand why Ellie was so gun ho about this, because there was no guarantee that your death was going to cure the world. There was no guarantee this, and I didn't.
But
my understanding is, my ununderstanding is, I can't understand why she was so like, I wanted to give my life for this or whatnot.
because she's the only one, as far as we know, who's immune. Because, like, that's still a question that's never been answered. Why is she immune? She asked herself that question like many times. Maybe she's immune for a reason. Maybe she would be like the person who would save everybody. And if her death would do that, then yeah, maybe all the sacrifice, maybe all the death that she's experienced, maybe it would all be worth it if she would give her life to save other people's lives.
Well, I'll say this game theory has a pretty interesting video about why Ellie is not immune. They have a pretty interesting video. I'll probably
that she's not immune.
Yeah, she's not immune.
Really?
Because there is this thing that there's the cortisol thing. There's another strand of it, but it's like doesn't turn you into a zombie or anything like that. And when Ellie got bit, she got that strand. I'm just paraphrasing the video, but she got that strand, and because she already had a strand of those cortisols, when she goes into spores, or if she even get bit again or whatnot, though, that basically became her shield, basically, from the zombie controlling her. So that's the gist of the video. I'll probably link it in the description, even though game theory doesn't need like pull like that. But like, it was a very interesting video nonetheless, saying why she wasn't quote unquote immune or anything like that. But I just, my thing, I feel like Jill did. I'm on Jill's side. I'm like, because he finally, at first he was cold to the girl, and he was a package. I'm trying to get there, and he made a bond with her, even though I hate Ellie with a passion. He made a bond with her, and he saw her as another daughter, and he was not gonna lose another daughter. And I feel like parts of the story was like poorly written, where I feel like if he just conveyed that emotion to her, everything would have been fine.
Yeah, if he just, communication is key, people. Just talk to people.
Yeah. But then again, you don't know how people would react. I guess it was that fear.
I just wanted Joel to tell her so she can make that decision for herself. Ellie, if you want to die, I don't want you to die. I think of you as a daughter. But if you want to risk your life to save the world, okay. But if you don't, then we can leave. That's how I wanted it to be. Not, listen, I'm just going to keep this from you, and I'm going to murder all these people. It's just that.
Yeah, and it also, I didn't like how Ellie, quote unquote, found out about it. Like, that's the thing. I don't like, because it made it, even though the ending is like an open ending thing, it's ambiguous, it made it seem like she believed them, but at the same time, this game shows she didn't believe. She didn't believe him, and she went back to the hospital. But that was one of the things that really bothered me. That's one of those things that bothered me.
Yeah. Joel to me is kind of selfish, a little bit.
The weird thing
is, it's understandable why he's selfish, but it's still pretty selfish.
Continue, Isaac. What were you trying to say?
Like JR was saying earlier, it's a matter of perspective, because it feels rough by the beginning of the game when you watch Joel get killed, right? Because you just played. I don't remember how long. You played that entire game, barring a few parts, with him, and then you take an active role in killing everybody in that hospital to get Ellie back. And then you see a different perspective in the second game, and you see what your actions have wrought. And I agree with how Noah said it. He should have, as soon as he found out what the procedure would do, he should have been able to go to Ellie and explain this to her. But it's also, what was the leader of the Fireflies' name? Marlene? It's also,
Marlene, yeah.
Yeah, it's also her fault and
For not
kind of
being
Abby's
truthful.
father's fault that they didn't tell Ellie this whole thing. That all this comes from keeping secrets. They kept this crucial secret for their own agenda, and all of this stuff ended up happening. And I feel for Abby, I feel for Ellie at the same time, but the whole story kind of talks about the never-ending cycle of revenge, because you think getting revenge is going to do something for you, and then you do it, and then you're like, well, where do I go from here? And then inevitably you make somebody else mad, and then they have to come do something to you, and then you have to do something back to them, and it just keeps going until you're the only people left. And
it's that perfect example
And
why
then-
eye for an eye is wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And all you are is just left broken.
Because by the end, Ellie has a good home life with Dina. She's taking care of this kid, and then we hadn't even talked about Tommy yet.
Yeah.
Tommy
That's
got on my nerves, man.
I can see why
Yeah.
but Ellie, I can see why she did after the baby was born and she did have that life. I can see why she did go back in the end to kill Abby.
I mean, I get that she wanted closure.
I don't think she wanted. I think it was more. I think she suffered from like some type of PTSD.
Yeah,
From
she
watching-
did.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
exactly that.
From
It
watching
was
your father,
exactly that.
watching your father figure die in front of you. I guess it's not that simple than just letting it go. Like you can imagine when your parents getting killed right in front of you, and you trying to, and that person still walking around. I can see why she went back. She needed that.
Well, I
closure.
mean, that's the same reason Abby did what she did,
see,
which is exactly what we're talking about. Yeah.
the difference between
only
Abby
this-
and Ellie, Abby didn't have to watch her father die. Once Abby killed Joel, she was over it. She got that clarity. Ellie had to watch. Right? They watched Ellie.
Yeah.
They made Ellie
Like,
watch.
she
Abby just
like-
found once Abby was over it once Ellie once she killed Joel. But Ellie was on a whole nother level of messed up because she had to watch her parent get murdered, get beat repeatedly. It was a whole different level of revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was also the fact that, because you remember towards the end, it was also the reason also why Ellie was on that. It was the revenge thing, or the death hit her a lot harder, was because she was about to because you remember when she finds out that Joe lied and she was about to leave, she was like, if you tell me another lie, I'm a bounce. And he tells her the truth, and she goes with them, but she didn't want to have anything to do. They just reconciled at that end, but she didn't fully forgive him yet. Towards the end, before they went off, before Joe died, the day before Joe died, she didn't fully forgive him, but she started to talk to him, and it was like coming around. So that when Joe got killed, got his shit bashed in by a golf club, no less, that hurt her a lot more. I think that was another reason why that PTSD thing was going on with her.
Yeah.
It's just,
Like, it's hard to get that image out of your head.
Well,
Yeah.
my personal self, I when we were playing the game and everything, like the story, we can get into the meat and potatoes of the story now. With the story itself, to me, it, like I was telling Noah, like most of the beats were pretty predictable. A lot of the stuff was predictable because to me, it was. I feel like it was like a different telling, a modern telling of Hamlet, because I kept harkening back to Hamlet, because that's a revenge tragedy story by Shakespeare, and I feel like this whole thing is is the textbook blueprint of the Shakespeare tragedy, and you could see parallels from the story of Shakespeare to this. You can see the parallels, and it's not, once you understand that the whole revenge tragedy story type thing, you can see a lot from the story itself. You can see a lot, like, yeah, you just see, like, it feels predictable at that point because it.
Yeah. You know,
Go ahead.
I think I would like the story a lot more if they would have alternated between Abby and Ellie. Like Ellie's day one ended, then we can play Abby's day one. Playing through all three Ellie's day one through three, then playing Abby's was like, because I didn't care for Abby at all. I was like, why would I want to play with the person that murdered Joel? Like, everybody loved Joel. I think the pacing was terrible, because right after the end, I felt like they was dragging it. At the end, I was like, oh, they're dragging it so much. Like,
Yeah, there were parts where it felt exhausting.
Like, I was like, oh my god! I thought I was about to. After Abby and Ellie fought the first time, and then the months happened, and the baby was born. I thought that was the end. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
The end.
I remember. Because we were sitting there and like
fishing.
Yeah, stuff was happening, and all of a sudden I'd be like, all right, game done. And then something else would happen. I'm like, I thought this game ended like 3 times.
No, I was like, yeah,
like
they're dragging this.
The Return of the Kings level of gaming.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was like, yeah, pacing.
The actual ending, I kind of like.
I wasn't mad at the ending. Yeah, I wasn't mad at it. And if I just thought they're dragging this game, I am sick of playing this bullshit. I'm sick of these endless. I'm sick of their endless army of people they have. Like, they have the whole United States in these one area of the game. Like, so if I wasn't playing it with Walt, I would have never probably. I ain't gonna lie. Walt made it more enjoyable, but it was just. I did not enjoy sneaking past the people. I enjoyed sneaking past and fighting the infected, because that's the world. But sneaking past your cult of half the United States, I'm good.
Speaking of the cult, so this was a big thing when you play as Abby, and you go through you meet the scars and everything like that. That point where Lev decides to go to the island, so you follow him with Yara, and it turns into a full blown out war with the island catching fire by the end of it. I was like, it felt convenient just to get Abby out of Seattle while Ellie does her thing, which I feel would have been better, like you were saying, Noah, if we had alternated more between the two during their days. It wouldn't have felt so like.
And nothing. Why did Abby switch sides so quickly? Like, why didn't she like them no more? I was so confused. I was like, because she met the 2 girls?
Well, it's because she got to know them.
Yeah.
Is that why she just switched?
Well, she also went AWOL. She also went AWOL.
Well,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
she went
I think
AWOL because she
before.
met them.
Yeah.
Well, no, she
Right.
went AWOL. She went
She
AWOL because she.
she almost got killed by the cult, and then like with Jarl, and then Lev showed up and he
Cause,
rescued Ellie. No, not Ellie, Abby, and then Jarl.
'cause she
And
only she only left to find what's his name, right?
Yeah, the
And
guy.
that's
That's
what
why.
she.
That's her main thing.
Yeah,
Because when
and
she heard the
so
Yeah.
story, she heard the reason why he shot their friend or whatnot. She
Right,
wanted to
right.
get his take and what he said to Buddy when she finally got the whole story and everything, and then she ran into those Seraphites and they.
So okay. So let's say she didn't run into the two girls, and she met what's his name. What was she gonna do? Was she gonna go back to the group, or just go become a firefly?
Her whole purpose of leaving was to go get Buddy and bring him back.
Yeah, that's okay. See, that's where I just don't understand it, because I don't see why she just turned on them because she met those two girls. I just, it just seemed like it was super convenient that she just wasn't around. To
Well,
draw the game out longer, they needed a reason for Abby not to be
In
around. It
Seattle.
was just,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just, I, I don't know. It was just.
Well, I mean, it also helps with it helps the fact that Yara and Lev were also kind of outcasts of the cult. They were getting ready to get killed by the cult, just the same as Abby. So I guess they
They
found
kind of
that
have
kind
like
of
a camaraderie
yeah.
sort of thing. And she starts to see things differently because she learns more about the scars and like their religion, how it all is a part of their lives.
She
And
did.
yeah, like when Abby and Lev were going through the bridge, like they were going they started talking about like their own faith and like their own hopes. And I guess she starts to see things a little differently.
let me ask you guys this: who do you think is the real protagonist of this game?
There are protagonists and there are antagonists. That's all I'm gonna say.
They're both. All of them are both.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
See, I ain't going. Okay, in the beginning,
Except for Isaac. Isaac is definitely an antagonist.
in the beginning,
Dang it!
they made it seem Ellie was the. In the beginning, they made it seem Ellie was the protagonist and Abby was the antagonist. But then when we played as Abby, they made Abby the protagonist, and Ellie the antagonist. I don't know, because when we was playing as Abby and when they wanted us to fight Ellie, I was still on Ellie's side. I was like, you want me to kill Ellie? I was like, nah, I'm good. But I don't know. That's why I thought the story was weird. The pacing was terrible.
Well,
It's a bold story. That's all I'm gonna
It's
say. It's a really bold
it's
story.
funny that Noah brought that up, having to fight Ellie, because at that point I was like, oh man, I gotta fight Ellie. You telling me I gotta kill Ellie now? And then by the end, when you're Ellie fighting Abby, I was like, dang man, now I gotta kill Abby.
Oh no, I was
Yeah.
Abby. I'm still.
Oh,
I was
no,
on Team
I was
Joel the
not.
whole game. Team Joel.
No, I was the one who was playing as Ellie during that fight, and I was like, I don't feel right about this. I feel
Yeah,
very
as
dirty
soon as we
doing
got to that
this.
part, I was like, JR, you do this. I don't want to do
And then when she finally stops, I was like, oh, thank God.
I know.
I guess since I'm on Team Joel, I just didn't want Ellie to die. But I didn't want Abby to die either. At that point in the game, I understood why Abby. I understood both sides.
Yeah.
Because you can ask why. I was like, I hope Abby. I can't wait for Abby to die. But then as the game went on, I was like, okay, she don't gotta die no more. I just want this game to end now.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. I tell you,
It's
I
an
understand
exhausting game.
people love Last of Us. People give it 9s and 10s. I'm never playing this game again.
Nope. That's why I'm telling you,
Yeah.
come get this game out of my house, Noah.
Dog, I'm gonna get it when I get it. I'm gonna
I
get it.
just want this
you
out
gonna
of my
hold it
house.
forever.
Okay, well, we can I'm harking back to the protagonist thing because I don't think there is, like JR has, I don't think there's protagonists and antagonist. I think the antagonists are the wolves and the seraphites, but Abby and Ellie, I think they are just main characters because by definition the main character is whoever point of view the audience is experiencing, and or whoever in this case of the game is whoever you're controlling at the time, so they're main characters. A protagonist, the definition is whoever's driving the story forward while everyone else is being impacted by those actions. That's the a protagonist, because it's the protagonist who's identifying the objects, actively pursuing stuff and all that jazz. Ellie, when you put it on like that, you might say Ellie is the main protagonist of this whole game. She's the main protagonist, and she is actively pursuing her revenge and all that junk, and she spends most of her time chasing like information gained by her friends, and she never really achieves her true goal by because by the second day, I want to say, she starts looking for Tommy instead, and then like in the third one, then she starts looking for Abby. Like she's being impacted by the plot, by her choices and all that junk. That's driving it, but it doesn't drive like the whole plot for it. But then you could look at Abby the same way. Abby herself, I stand by. I don't think Abby even, once she had killed Joel and all that junk, I don't think Abby even knew Ellie was even on her radar. She didn't know who Ellie was because she thought all her friends who got killed. She thought Tommy did all that. She was looking for Tommy. She thought Tommy was the one who did everything. She didn't even know Ellie existed at the time. So like but then you would harken back to you would say Abby, when you switch back and forth, Abby is the antagonist, mainly because she killed Joel. But I feel like that's a misdirect itself. It's like a red herring. At the end of that, I don't think Ellie is an antagonist, and I don't think Abby's an antagonist. The person that I think like the main character is, or the main protagonist is, I think it's Tommy, because Tommy, all his actions, everybody goes through his actions. Whatever he's doing, they go off of his whatever his action was. Like, because everybody's looking for Tommy, and they're pursuing him and everything. And Tommy is the one who planted the idea into Ellie to go, even at the end, to go get attack Abby. And then Tommy is the one who pushed her when Joel died. She's the one who pushed her. He's the one who pushed her even more. Like I said, I mean, because think about it, like if you were playing as Tommy the entire time, and your character is saying a lot of stuff, and if you include Ellie, like it really clarifies her motivations and everything, and all that. I probably could have wrote this way better. But all that, my point is, I feel like Tommy is like the main protagonist of the game. Like he's the one who's setting everything in motion. He's throughout the whole game. He's the one setting everything in motion and all that jazz. And being chased.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So at the end, or towards the end, when Tommy comes to Ellie and Dina's house, right?
Also, Tommy had plot armor. That's what I also would say.
Oh,
Tommy
he
had
absolutely did.
Oh, she how?
Tommy went
how
full
even?
Rambo on everybody.
Everybody. One, he had like plot armor on that, and then when Abby shot him in the head.
Shot him in the head.
And
all he did was lose an eye.
That's plot. He should have died. Because Jesse got shot in the head almost in the similar fashion as and at a way closer range than Jesse did. But Tommy got shot at a way closer range, and all he did was lose an eye. That's plot armor, dog. That's
all about the angle.
I mean, I guess that's plot armor to me, though, man.
There are times when people survive like a bullet in the head.
Oh, okay. So at the end, when Tommy comes to Ellie and tells her, I think Abby is in Santa Barbara or wherever they went. Do you think Tommy went as well, or what do you think he did? I don't remember if he said anything about where he was going.
Nah, Tommy said he couldn't. When he told Ellie the map, gave her the map, and he was still tracking all this. Tommy couldn't go. He was one, limping. Two, he's blind in one eye. He couldn't do it. He couldn't carry on. Yeah, so that's the reason why he kind of pushed it on Ellie. And then when Ellie was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm good. I'm done." That's why he blew up about it. Because
he knew that nobody else would.
Nobody else would go do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I didn't get that the first time. I was like,
yeah, I guess I missed the part where or either I just didn't really pay attention all that much to him not being able.
Like Tommy didn't really register to me like at the very end, so I didn't care about what Tommy was doing at that point.
My other thing is like if you wanted to blame anybody or get mad or anybody or anything like that, I mean, you could just blame Riley, because Riley is the one that got Ellie bit in the first place.
Hey.
Dang.
Oh.
We're not doing that.
Oh.
Absolutely
that's terrible.
Walt.
I'm just.
You turn a sweet moment and then you just
that.
like blame it on the girl. I'm like,
we're not doing that, Walter. Nobody's on your side.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't. I'm not.
They were kids.
Okay.
They were children. They didn't know any better.
It was cool and all, but there was multiple times in that DLC where Ellie wanted to leave. It was multiple times during that time. Ellie wanted to leave and go and get back to the dorm because she said it repeatedly and multiple times. It was multiple times that happened. Yeah. But Riley kept pushing it. But that's just one of those things I observed in the.
Well, blame the fire where were they at? Like I don't think it was the Fireflies. It was like some kind of it was some place where there's a curfew and they have like strict security.
Fedra.
Oh yeah, Fedra. Yeah,
Fedra.
Blame Fedra. Because
or we can just blame the virus itself if you want to go that way.
Yeah, just go back in time and just blame the first person who got infected.
Go blame the Rat King. It's the Rat King's fault.
Yeah, go kill him. Get revenge on him. It's an endless cycle.
We'll end it. We'll go ahead because we've been at this for maybe about an hour and a half. Do
Turn the other
you?
cheek. That's the
do
lesson
you-
of all this.
Do you? I already. Well, I kind of know how Noah feel, but like the ending, basically how it ended. Do you feel like Ellie should have just let it go the first time they fought? First time Abby, because Abby, that was the second time Abby basically let her live, but this time Abby knew it had stakes and stuff to it, and Abby was about to kill Dina too if Lev wasn't there and stopped her. Because when she was like, she's pregnant, and she's like, good. And she was about to kill Dina because her friend had died.
Ellie said that. Ellie was like, "No, don't kill
Yeah,
her. She's pregnant."
I know. That's what I'm saying. Ellie said she's pregnant, and Abby was about to kill Dina, but Lev stopped.
And then Lev, yeah, that's right.
And then if Lev wasn't there, I think Abby probably would have killed both of them.
Yeah, she probably would have. I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
But the way it was handled, do you think Ellie just should have let it go at that point instead of going back, or
she should have let it go.
Yeah.
Again, she should have let it go.
Because
like she should have let it go, but at the same time, I understand why she went, because the whole PTSD thing and all that. But at the same time, she left a really good situation and then ended up coming back having lost 2 fingers and her family. And now Abby is out there with Lev. She might have died on the ocean. We don't even know. So
it's crazy how they had to depower Abby for Ellie to actually beat her.
Looking at Abby and the state she was in was really
they
hard.
literally had to depower her.
Yeah.
For Ellie to win the second fight.
But
I really
the
thought
best
Ellie
thing about that
was
part
going to die. I thought
it
Ellie
felt
was gonna
wrong. At
Yeah,
that
I really thought Ellie was
or
going to die.
on the first fight.
Oh, so we talking over people. What were you saying, Noah?
I thought Ellie was going to die after she left the baby, and because she just couldn't let it go. I thought she was going to die. I really did. Because she couldn't.
Yeah.
She just should have just let it go the first time. Like, after she lost to Abby, she really should just let it go. But no, she had to go back, lose her relationship, lose the baby, just to come back with nothing. While Abby still got her friend Liv. She lost everything.
Well, she
got the clarification I guess she needed. I guess she's with E. She got peace now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But at the cost of that, she ended up alone. I don't know. I really thought she was gonna die for it. I really thought she was gonna die.
Yeah, maybe it's just like a way for her to get like a clean slate with everything.
Well,
because
it's
everybody she knows and loves is just basically gone out of her life. So it's her chance to start again.
Well, I really feel like she had conquered her anger basically, and because she was blaming Abby for something, and she was mad and had so much rage and built up about it for Abby, and mainly because she didn't get to say she didn't really be able to squash things with Joe. That was the whole thing. Like this game deals with like revenge and anger and all that junk, processing those emotions. The first one processing how to love after loss.
Mm-hmm.
But did Did you like the ending? Did you like how it ended?
I
I
did.
did.
I like the ending because it finally,
Yeah.
Ellie finally
Yeah.
was over it. She just chilled.
And now she's going off into the sunset, like
Yeah. It's just-
into
I think
uncharted territory.
Yeah, I still stand like everything was like the story itself was decent, but it was just poorly. It is a revenge, your tragic revenge story, but it was poorly executed. That's just what I feel like. The story itself was poorly executed. Closing. Do you think there's gonna be a third one?
I hope not. God, please.
Uh,
No, I don't think so.
if there is, a lot of people may not like this opinion, but I would want it just to be about Abby.
You know, it makes sense if it's about Abby because I think Ellie's
Yeah,
story's done.
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Because at this point,
But
I'm kind of done with Ellie.
yeah, it's just.
Because
I hope it's
Abby's
not.
story seems like it's just beginning now. Like she has a new purpose now. Whereas Ellie, she doesn't know what her purpose is anymore.
All right. That was a pretty good talk. I will end it again with once everybody had said everything they said.
I got.
What?
But this is a perfect story to show you why people eye for an eye is not good. It does not justify murder. It doesn't justify you killing somebody. Eye for an eye is bad. This is a perfect story to show you that. Okay, I'm done.
With all that said, I will ask this one more time with everybody hearing everybody. Which side were you on? Abby's or Ellie's? I'll go around the room. We will go to Noah.
Like, who do we agree with?
Yeah, who do you agree with? With everything everyone has said now. And who do you that you can even put like you don't if both of them are wrong.
Oh, okay, both of them were wrong. Thank God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, they both were wrong. Because
Why
even when they had a chance to end things, they faced off one last time. Abby just is kind of just done with her. She's done with Ellie, but Ellie's not done with Abby. And at this point, you're like, come on.
I just why is both of them wrong?
Why both of them's wrong? Because revenge is bad.
It's
murder is.
it's
Listen, because we get why they both did what they did, but they both revenge. Revenge is always ends bad.
they gone about it in wrong ways.
Yeah, revenge always ends bad. Somebody's always gonna suffer. It's just innocent people got killed on both sides because of it. They were just both bad. Just
Were they innocent though?
Nobody's innocent in this world anymore. That's all we had. That's all I had to say.
yeah, you can say. Listen, you can say Tommy was kind of innocent because Tommy wasn't with them in the beginning of the game at all. They don't know what went down. All Tommy knows is he lost a brother. That's it.
Yeah.
Tommy, you can say Tommy was innocent.
It's.
You know,
I think
it's
it's basically. I think it's basically who you sympathize the most.
just innocent
Because
people.
it's all
Innocent people lost their lives because of
quote unquote innocent.
that. Jesse had nothing to do with it at all, but he lost his life because of it.
That's okay. Yeah, I would have to
It's
say
just
that.
revenge is never the way because innocent people are going to hurt because two people are fighting. It's just revenge is not the way at all, not even a little bit. I understand something happened that made somebody want revenge, but killing someone is not the answer because doing bad stuff is never the answer to get your revenge, to justify your wrongdoing.
Well, I mean, Abby did kill Joel, and she got her revenge. It was an open book, open closed book, shut
but
case.
listen,
That's her. And then
but it still doesn't make it right
Ellie,
though. Just because she got her
Ellie.
revenge, and she was satisfied with it, doesn't make her right.
I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't.
in certain people's eyes, it does make it right. She
Listen.
got what she completed what she wanted.
Listen, man, you're trying to justify murder. I can't do it.
I'm not trying to justify murder.
Then she's not right at all.
And it's also no different from it. I mean, the way it happened in this game is a little bit different, but it's not that much different when you got an inmate who killed multiple people and then he gets the death sentence.
Well, see, that's different. Like, that's completely different than just an inmate, like.
And the families that he hurt, they wanted him to die.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
That's justice.
The different.
We're talking about revenge.
The difference between that is only that guy is dying. I'm talking about multiple people in between.
You don't know that either, because the families of that guy. I'm playing devil's advocate here, but like the people on that side who think he shouldn't have died, you don't know if they went out and killed more people because of the people who was
Well, we're just talking about just a murderer, and that's it. Like,
and Joe was a murderer.
Okay,
they're all murderers.
But I said Joe was wrong too. I'm just like I said, you can't justify killing.
It's like I said before. It's all about perspective, like who's wrong in whose eyes, like from their point of view.
Also, a big difference is in The Last of Us compared to like what Walt was talking about, an inmate having killed a bunch of people and then getting the death sentence. The main difference there's laws.
Yeah, there's inmate. A justice.
There's no law in The Last of Us. It's post-apocalyptic, so there's the only way people live is, am I going to cross somebody and possibly end up getting killed, or am I going to go, get my revenge? There's nothing blocking them from doing that. So I feel like it's a whole different situation there.
Right. It's all relative.
It could also be, well, let's just say it's not an inmate. It's not a person who's an inmate who got in the justice system and whatnot, and someone kills them. Would you still call that justice? It's just food for thought. I don't want to get too deep into it. It's just
sounds like we're talking about something.
Yeah, we are. I mean, because you're bringing up other things. I just tried to bring up an example of that.
You're trying to compare it to something that makes it sound like is it like good or is it bad?
Well, I was trying to get a straight answer out of y'all. That's what I was trying to do, but and I was trying to play devil's advocate at the same time.
Yeah. It's very confusing right now.
just trying to get a good conversation on y'all. Well,
I'm-
with all that said,
It was decent enough already.
with all that said, do you think? We'll end it on here. Do you think the second game is better or the first game is better? I will go around. You say your piece, and then we call it a night. Isaac.
I think the second game's better.
Why?
Were you gonna say something?
Why, Isaac?
I just, well, I don't know. It's weird because the first game has more replay value. The second one, I played it once, and I was like, that was a fantastic game, but I'm not touching it again, like ever. I think it was a good wrap up. It had a lot of, like, the voice acting and the acting itself was incredible. It told a great story. It was, yeah, I just think the second one's better.
JR?
The first game is relatively more lighthearted than the second one, but I would agree that the second one had a superior storytelling quality, and even though, and yeah, it's the kind of thing that you can watch through it or play through it once and you don't want to play it again. And the reason why that is, to me, is like, I don't want it to dull the experience by replaying it again and again and again. Because you go through it once and you're amazed at everything. You're shocked, you're intrigued. But when you play it again, you're like, you know what happens. You know what happens, and it's not much of a surprise anymore. And it kind of like demeans it when you play it again. So, but yeah, the gameplay is fantastic. The game itself is beautiful to look at. The characters, they're very bold. They're very bold in how they depict the characters in this. But it's the kind of storytelling that makes it more interesting. That it really does spark a conversation with everybody. And to me, that's a winner. That's a winner of the game.
All right, Noah.
I enjoyed the first one more. The second game, his whole revenge story was dragging me. I liked the first story better, with Joe finding love with another girl after he lost it. I don't know. I think that there's just the first game story was a whole lot cleaner and better than the second. I didn't think it really needed a sequel or part 2. I hope it doesn't get a part 3. But I enjoyed the the first one more.
All right. My piece, I only played the first one, and I only was there with Noah on his playthrough. I didn't really play the game itself, but I did experience it. The story, the first one, I said neither one of these games, this game genre isn't my cup of tea. I didn't really the first one. I had to challenge myself in the first one, if anything, to get through the game, to make it more fun for me. But if you got to tug my arm, I don't know. I probably have to agree with Noah. I probably have to say the first one is probably better than the second one.
So it's a tie.
With that all being said, thank you for joining me, guys. And we finally get this out. And we in the comments below, tell us your thoughts on because it is a very divisive game right now, as it is. But tell us your thoughts in the comments below, and we will.
And be mindful. Yeah. Sorry. I just wanted to say, like, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. These are our opinions, and even if you don't agree, they just us. This is just our way of thinking. So, if you are gonna leave comments, then please be like civil about it.
You're telling the internet to be civil.
Not me.
Look,
Not me. I want all the smoke. Fine. Please. I am so ready.
All right. Didn't y'all enjoy that? Now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is AnimusPrime. Rolling out to you and signing out. Peace.